If we define a simul-rappel or simul-abseil as any rappel in which two climbers are going down single strands at the same time, but without the rope fixed in place at the anchor, then we don't really ever simul-rappel on real climbs. Here's why. Hi there, I'm Jason. And if you watched other videos we've done, you may have seen one of the many occasions in which two climbers head down at the same time, but with each of their single strands fixed in place. But a simul-rappel adds significant risk because the rope isn't fixed in place. A while ago, we did a different video explicitly on simul-rappelling, and we discussed how a rappel on a freely moving rope can lead to disaster if both strands don't stay similarly weighted. Now, there are lots of ways to mitigate this risk, and if you are going to simul-rappel, I would argue you should employ many of those techniques. But let's ask the question if mitigation is the best strategy or just pure avoidance. Basically, should we make a simul-rappel safer or just pretty much never do it? If we are in a team of three, in my opinion, there is no reason to do it because we can't go down all at the same time anyway. Why not fix the lines for two people to head down at the same time and then undo the rope fix before the last person heads down? And we can fix the strands with knots or even just with the last person's device already being on the ropes. We are still only taking the time for two durations of rappelling, but the major risk of a simul-rappel is non-existent. Okay, but what about in a team of two? I think the question comes down to whether the risk is worth the speed. Rather than talk about the risks, which can obviously be high consequence, I'm going to just focus on the speed part rather than get in a shouting match about expert halos and accident rates and all of that. Do we really gain that much speed or benefit to justify any added risk or cost? In theory, if a team knows what it's doing, then when the first person of a two-person team gets to the next anchor, they start transitioning the rope through the next rappel point while the top person is on rappel. Once that top person gets down, the whole team can begin pulling the rope from the above anchor into the now set lower anchor. So, what time have we lost? We have three major activities going on. The time to rappel down the ropes, the time to set up the new anchor and thread the rope through that new bottom anchor, and the time to pull the rope from above and toss it down the next pitch. The limiter on the speed of the rappel transition is only that we cannot pull the rope from the top anchor until both people are off rappel. We can start setting the rope into the bottom anchor as soon as the first climber reaches the bottom anchor. We have gained no time for this part of the sequence if only one person gets here, or if both people get here at the same time using a simul-rappel. If we have to build a trad or ice anchor, that's no time difference because that time would be taken whether on simul-rappel or not, and no climber, either one or two people, can come off rappel until the new anchor is built anyway. So it really is just the lost time that we are waiting for the second climber to get down when the first climber isn't doing anything. So let's assume that when the climbers go down one at a time, the time it takes the bottom climber to come off rappel and thread the next rappel point is the time it takes the top climber to rappel about half the distance down the rope. What we are left with then is we can't pull the rope and toss it down the next pitch until the second climber gets down and off rappel. The time it will actually take to pull the rope, get it into tossing coils, and get it tossed is no different. The only time we are adding into the procedure is this time for the roughly half a rope rappel and time for the second person's act of clipping into the new anchor. How long is that? Seconds? A minute? 2 minutes? In this particular case, with a child, mind you, it took almost exactly 2 minutes from the time I finished securing the rope into the new anchor and my son's clip into that anchor. How many pitches do you have to be rappelling to make that worth it? Maybe many, many, many rappels. But Jason, you said you were comparing a team that knew what they were doing on rappel transitions. What if they didn't? Well, that would not be the team that should instead be taking on the added complexities of a simul-rappel with its inherent risks, right? But what about the last pitch? There is no transition on the last pitch. So we are losing all the time it takes for the second person to get down. Okay, 2 minutes for a well-practiced adult team now, and to a point where we are down and walking. We're done at that point. There is no multiplicative factor of time saved. So that's why we don't really simul-rappel. Sure, Tommy Caldwell and Alex Honnold may want to simul-rappel down the 5 peaks of their Devil's Thumb skyline traverse to save those 30 minutes from those many, many rappels. But we're not Mr. Caldwell nor Mr. Honnold, and we aren't on an epic traverse racing the darkness and storms and human capacity. See, I won't say no one and never, but for me, it would take some pretty extreme circumstances to make the time benefits outweigh the cost and risk.
Hi there.
Hi.
Move that way a little bit.
Have you simul-rappelled? Do you still? When or why not? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share if you want to support us. For more information, you can go to our website at www.shortguysbetaworks.com. You can check out a related video on 3 different rappel rope tosses for differing wind conditions, or you can check out our entire rock climbing safety series. We'll see you next week and keep on getting more out of that big outside.